Streamer Sneako was recently confronted with his own audience in 4K while doing in real life streaming and got to see up close and personal some of the manifestations of the type of content he's been putting on, and let's just say that he was shocked.
What have I done?
Abba Preach also did a reaction to it. We're going to be unpacking it and really connecting all of the pieces of what does it mean to be a creator and the influence that many wield in this new climate. So if you guys don't know who Sneako is used to be a part of the Red Pill. He's since become Muslim. He was friendly with Nick F, if you guys know who that is. And this is a very interesting thing because he has this encounter with these teenagers out in public while he's streaming. It's in real life streaming thing that's happening right now. It's a big phenomenon. And so before we get into that, I got to give you guys a heads up.
Had your kids, had your wife.
Explicit.
Did you take the woman?
What?
So he says, Andrew Tate, F the women. Okay, now why is he saying that? Well, because the Red Pill, many would say, have a hostility towards women.
No, wait. We love women.
He said, we love women, but not the transformers. Not the transformers. Okay?
We love women.
What? Not like.
Yes, sir. We love everybody. Yes, sir. We love everybody. No.
Okay.
So he says, F the LGTV, all the LGTV should delete. Now, some of you guys think that Christians and Christian content creators put out phobic languages or phobic videos. This is next level. All right, this is next level.
Whoa, kid!
Oh, Mark, preach.
What have I done?
Sneako's response here. They are children and obviously joking. This is how I was at 12 years old. But if it sounds egregious to you, blame the rainbow flag in their classroom. Blame the media for emasculating men. It's your fault. It's your fault for forcing an obvious agenda, not these kids. Boys will be boys. That was Sneako's response here. Okay. And so I think it's great. And this is why I like to do events and meet people in person and go to young adults ministries and speak at churches, all that kind of stuff. All right. When I encounter people, I get to really see the fullness of what it is that we do here on YouTube exhibited across physical humans and interactions. We've never, ever had anybody come with this sort of energy in terms of encounters I've had with people at events. Most of you guys that I meet are extremely cool, extremely respectful, especially against what we would call out groups, okay? And so you oftentimes attract and drive the type of content that you're making drives your audience. That is the whole point of being quote unquote an influencer or a streamer is you have influence. And so is all of this 100% Sneako's fault? Not all of it, but I would say a big majority of it is. And as you'll see later on in this video, he starts pushing back against the audience that he's built. Okay, he starts pushing back against some of the audience that he's built. And a lot of it is anchored on some of this red pill ideology nonsense.
It's funny because I remember when they were trying to ban Andrew Tate everywhere, a lot of school teachers were saying, oh, this is a negative influence on my students. And the students are coming in and saying all this stuff. And I'm like, you gotta be exaggerating. And then you hear these kids going, kill Andrew Tate. And I'm like, oh, maybe those teachers weren't lying.
Maybe those teachers were not lying. Maybe those teachers were not capping. Maybe it was true. Maybe this stuff really was impacting people, especially those in the classroom, and especially the way these boys were behaving towards other young girls, right? Especially when you see this stuff up close and personal. Now, granted, yes, boys are going to be foul and say crazy things for shock value, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, these are still things coming out of their mouth. And so I could imagine how some of these things are probably being said in school, right? And around teachers.
There's a little bit of that whole him complaining like, oh my God, look at the rainbow flag in the classrooms and all the programs. It's like, bro, you're also programming the kids too.
Definitely.
You're also programming the kids too. I think this is a fair assessment. I'll tell you how this played out in my youth in a moment.
100%.
Your flag is just a woman being beaten up or being hated on or being called stupid or whore. But you got your own flags. And these kids, they fly proudly. They sing the anthem without even you asking. It's interesting because they keep complaining about the indoctrination of children. But you got a bunch of kids just yelling your name randomly and repeating a bunch of foul shit you've been saying.
If that's not indoctrination.
You look at these kids. Oh my God! Look at them yelling pronouns. Look at the kids that you're fostering, yelling how much they hate the opposite gender and that they think that should be murked.
And if you ask these kids, they wouldn't even be able to tell you why. So that's where you see the programming. When you're just repeating some stuff, you don't know why, you don't know where that's from, you don't know why you're saying, but you're saying it.
Yep.
That's programming right there.
Yeah. And let me ask you, when's the last time you seen one of these like purple-head 12-year-olds talk about murking the straight people? But if you keep it in that stack, let me know when y'all heard that. Not from adults. I'm actually talking about kids, because that's what we saw on screen. We saw kids yelling that. I'm all fine with people saying, hey, I don't want this stuff in the classroom. I don't want all the stuff in the classroom. Okay, that's fine. But think about where these kids are getting their messaging.
Viral streaming is what I want.
All right. I mean, that's the gem. Now, I'll be honest. They say this in the video. I could say this from my own personal life. When I was a kid, when I was younger, I was highly immersed in hip-hop music. You could argue that the guys that came out of the streets who then went on to influence people at scale, or guys that maybe didn't come out of the streets, like an Eminem and some of the language he had around his baby mom and around his actual mother, definitely shaped some of our paradigm. Right now, the difference is we didn't actually go out and do those things, right? And so it's a lot of just puffing your chest out and wanting to be tough, whether you're listening to DMX or Tupac. That was the era that I grew up in. You're not actually going out and necessarily behaving in a violent way. It's like playing Grand Theft Auto, but it does have some impact on your psyche, on your ideology, and the things that you're going through. And so we're seeing this on display, but now it's a different context. It's not just the rappers and just the athletes that have this sort of influence. It's also the streamers. It's also the influencers. It's also the YouTubers that now have this sort of influence. And so Sneako being taken aback by this, you know, it makes me wonder, how tapped in is he really with his audience? How tapped in is he really with the people who are consuming this stuff, right? Now, yes, obviously there's fringe leftists that say crazy stuff too, but the difference is I've never seen kids say this sort of stuff. I've never seen fringe leftist girls say all men should be deleted. All men are right. I've never seen 12-year-olds, 11-year-old girls say this sort of stuff. And it's shocking to me because my son is not much younger than this. He's 8, right? And the friends he has and the temperament they keep and the way they're able to meet kids and even meet kids that might be a little socially awkward and welcome them in. It's a totally different predisposition with his circle of friends, probably because we have, you know, parents that are super duper engaged. Okay. Now, there's some things that Sneako points out here that I wanted to get into that I think is very interesting as he's clearly processing all this stuff, right?
There's only so long. You can only do this for so long. Like, how much can you really talk about Neon Dating Coach? That's hilarious. Yeah, it's like it's just so much more fun. I can't even lie. And let's be honest, the red pill is dying. It's over. It's over because like there was a lot of hype around this, like, oh, the Matrix, bro, how do we make it out? And then like I thought we were on the same page. And that's what I realized, my core audience, like the people that come here all the time. If you look at the comments with the video, I did a video with Neon and Jason Love, right? We just got dinner, making jokes, stuff like that. I was asking if he repents. I was asking about if he thinks it's bad for society. I'm talking about, you know, his religion, stuff like that. I'm talking about everything that you guys always obsess over about to just, you know, make my community happy, right?
So he's talking about the contrast of him engaging with Neon, the streamer Neon, and the type of comments he gets on his Rumble videos versus the type of comments he gets on his own Rumble videos.
Comments on Neon's VOD on his YouTube channel compared to my comments on my Rumble channel, the difference is just insane. My Rumble comments all the time, Sneako's hanging out with these, Sneako betrayed us. Why is he eating dinner with these people? Well, you should be yelling at whores with Myron right now.
That's funny. Myron is one of the one half of Fresh and Fit. That's freaking hilarious.
Wait. So you watered grass, now your grass grew, and now
woo! You watered grass, now your grass grew. The grass is greener where you water it, ladies and gentlemen.
Are you complaining about grass?
That's facts. You cultivated the most hyper-judgmental audience by being hyper-judgmental everyone. You would watch videos, call people dumb feminists, all this other stuff, this, that, and the third. And then when you realize your audience is exactly a reflection of who you are and how you behave, you want to cry about it.
Look at all this grass.
Hey.
Look at all this grass in my
Look at all these weeds. It's not even grass, ladies and gentlemen. It's weeds.
yard that I've been watering for 6 months.
Talk to him. And then Neon's comments, love you so much, Neon. Keep going. Yeah, this was so funny. Great video. You're evolving every day. If I just let like the Rumble audience, you people dictate everything that I do, it would just, bro, I would go insane. All NPCs on kick. Bro, like, I understand that you might know the truth. Rumble people, you might know the truth about the world, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't mean you're better than other people.
Okay, now he's right about this part, right? Just because you know the truth doesn't mean you're better than other people. He's right. Unfortunately, what happens when people get exposed to the red pill is often what's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's the peak of Mount Stupid because you don't really know what you think you know. You just know the bare level of it. So people who are often the least competent or the least knowledgeable about something are exhibiting the most amount of confidence. So when people are getting exposed to all this stuff, they're coming with this certainty about what they're talking about, but they don't really know what they're talking about. And this is why I repeatedly tell you guys, today's video, the video we just did about the Roman Empire. What was the second half of the video? Romans 2. And you shouldn't be judging all these folks because you're no different when you do these things. That without Jesus, all of us are deserving of the wrath of God. That just because you know the truth doesn't mean you walk around with no humility. Doesn't mean you walk around thinking you're better than other people, right? Like that, the magic bullet to everything he's talking about here is the gospel. That you are incapable of being good. That you are incapable of earning your way to heaven through good deeds and behavior modification. That it's done to you because of what Jesus did on the cross. Righteousness is imputed to you by Jesus's righteousness. And we really are, we can address ideas and we can combat bad ideologies and bad thoughts. But when it comes to the moral grandstanding, I know that without Jesus, left to my own devices, I could be just as far gone as a Adam 22 or whoever, fill in the blank, right? The OnlyFans person. I could be just as far gone. It's not my right. It's the grace of God. But for the grace of God, there go I, right? And so I think this is what happens when you have a worldview that's void of the gospel. This is what happens when you have a void of view that's void of the gospel. And most people don't understand the gospel. A lot of Christians don't understand the gospel. It's the power of the gospel that proclaims us righteous. And then that same proclamation of righteousness comes with the new desire, new hearts to do things according to God's will and according to God's ways. So no man should boast, according to Ephesians 2.
Because you believe in God and you think that OnlyFans girls are demons, right? That doesn't make you better than other people who are enjoying life.
Yes, exactly. And guess who thinks Ruslan goes too soft on Adam 22 and OnlyFans girls? The red pillars. The goober red pillars. It's the same exact thing. So anyway, it's interesting to see Sneako waking up to some of his own nonsense and the audience that he's created around himself. And I'm grateful that other people were seemingly starting to wake up on this sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, this is always where things are going to go. You are going to, when your works are what make you righteous in your own eyes or even in other people's eyes, that goes down one of two roads. Road number one is you're going to become self-righteous. Road number two, because you actually think you're doing something. And Sneako, because he goes to the mosque and whatever it is that he does in his faith, might have some self-righteousness there, but then he's in conflict instantly and repeatedly doing stuff that's quote-unquote haram because he knows that he just wants to quote-unquote enjoy life. So it goes down the road of what? One of two things, self-righteousness, right? Or despair. You discover that you aren't even capable of living up to your own standards. You are incapable of living up to your own standards, the standards that you outlined and identified by the worldview that you chose for yourself. And I don't care what it is, by the way. It's not just Islam. It's any worldview. You could leftism. We're so tolerant and friendly, and we love the Transformers, and we love all the people with the rainbow hair. We love except until you stop loving those people, and then you stop loving people who aren't as far left as you, and then you have this death purity spiral test, and then of course you don't tolerate the Christians who are the most tolerant. You start watering, right? Unless we disagree with you. That's right, Paige. Unless we disagree with you. So you're only tolerant with people that agree with you. And so it's the same. Every single worldview that is built on your ability to perform, your ability to do good deeds, your ability to think the right things and do good deeds will always come to this sort of conclusion. And I really hope that Sneako wakes up and really has an encounter with Jesus, because I don't know how this is gonna go for him. I don't know how he's going to navigate these waters. We see, according to the Bible, that prayer is extremely important in terms of us being transformed from the inside out when we get aligned with God's will. I want you guys to implement these spiritual disciplines in your day-to-day life. And the only way I've been able to do this consistently is through writing down my prayers in a prayer journal that does a few things. One, it allows me to reflect and come to God humbly and ask him to move on my behalf. And 2, it allows me to document my prayers, which ultimately help me remember the very things that I was praying for and see the hand of God tangibly in my life when he answers them. So I would urge you, consider writing down your prayers. It could be in a blank notebook. It could even be on your phone. Or you could check out the one I personally designed and used from my own quiet time and spiritual discipline that I think will be a huge blessing. It's the exact structure and system that I've used for years to pray and be more consistent in my spiritual disciplines. And here's the thing, with the hope to create a prayer movement, we've made the PDF version of this prayer journal completely free. So to get the PDF of our prayer journal completely for free, go to blessgodpdf.shop